interfere with it. And so we live in our little world, but interpenetrating it are many other worlds that are very different to this one. And our frequency range, this is crucial to understanding so much that's coming today, is tiny. I don't go with the dark matter, dark energy stuff. I just talk about the visible and invisible universe. But this is what mainstream science says. Of that which exists in the universe, that which we perceive, the electromagnetic field up to a point, and visible light. Visible light is the only frequency range that we can pull into a world that the conscious mind can perceive. Everything else is beyond it. And the electromagnetic spectrum is 0.005%, mainstream science says, of what exists in the universe. Some say it's a bit more, but not much. Visible light, which is the only frequency range that we can pull into a reality we experience with the conscious mind, is a fraction of the electromagnetic field. So, as someone rightly said, humans are basically blind in relation to what we can pull into a conscious reality from what actually exists in the universe that we're experiencing. Thus, this is our world. We can't even perceive through the conscious mind these other levels of the electromagnetic spectrum which technology can. So we have a visible universe which is tiny, and we have an invisible universe which is invisibly infinitive, infinite. And thus what we call a world, what we call the world that we think we're living in, is a tiny, almost infinitesimal frequency band. And if we don't know that, but that which is manipulating this world does, we are in an extraordinarily powerful state of potential manipulation. And the focus of attention I keep talking about, that this society, this crazy controlled society wants us in, is that focus of attention wants us only in that tiny band of frequency, visible light, and not to access the inspiration and insight beyond it through this and the greater mind that will give us a greater fix on what this visible light really is, because it ain't what we think it is. So if we come into this reality and we hold a connection to the greater self beyond it, what I call consciousness, then we've got everything we need. We've got the five senses and the body-mind to directly interact with this frequency band and to get a fix on that level of what's going on and to interact with it. If consciousness, the greater self, wanted to interact with this frequency band, it couldn't hold this because it's on a completely different frequency. So the outer shell, the body that we take on, is within the frequency band that we want to interact with, and thus we can pick things up and they stay in our hands. And so we've got everything we need. When that level of us sees information from the news or politicians or whatever, this level, beyond the illusion, is filtering in insight and intuitive knowing that goes, it's a load of bollocks, isn't it? Yeah, right? But if we don't have that filter, then this can believe it, and does. And if we get disconnected from that, and we only have this, where are we going to look to get a fix on who we are, where we are, and what's happening in the world? We're not going to go there because we don't accept that exists. This is our reality. Where are we going to go? We're going to go in this direction. And what's coming back? The newspapers, the education system, the politicians, the banks, and all the other stuff. This is what the conspiracy is. Isolate them in the five senses, then program the five-sense level of reality with a sense of self in the world that turns them into our slaves. That's the bloody story. And once that happens, we become bewildered humanity. Where am I? What's going on? Open. You see what's going on. Time and space. Oh, it's got to be time and it's got to be space. Well, it's not, it's illusion. It's a decoded illusion. This is why when you go into the heart and through out of the illusion, there is no time and there is no space, because it's part of the construct. See, if you put a disk in, like a computer game, information into a computer, upon the screen comes decoded information that has scene following scene, time, and it has depth and perspective, space, and yet it's just information on a disk being decoded. And once we get caught in the time illusion, and my goodness me, the whole of society is based on time. What's the time? What's the time? Is that the time? Oh my God, no time. Oh. And that which is the greater self beyond the illusion does not happen or operate within time and space. It's just a construct. It is outside of the construct. Thus, if that inside the construct, the experiencing level is caught in time and space, and the passage of linear time, then it is already disconnecting on that level alone from that which is no time. And people say, well, and that's the idea. And people say, well, there's got to be time. But there's not got to be time. There's got to be decoded time. I mean, look at it. Look at the time we have. I mean, there's an invisible line in the ocean. And if you go one way, you go into yesterday. And if you go that way, you go into tomorrow. And it's not even bloody straight. Look at it. Hello? Is that little island in the Pacific? Yeah. Do you want to be in yesterday or tomorrow? Oh, time's real. It's real. And like I say, the whole of society is based on time. We're controlled by time. We're enslaved by time. Much of the slavery is due to time. But there is no time. Oh, but David, there must be time, right? Because there's past and there's future. Oh, really? No. There is one now moment in which all exists. This struggles to understand that because it's locked into the illusion. Okay. When you're talking about the past, where are you when you're thinking about the past? Well, I'm in the now. Yeah, okay. Okay, when you're talking about the future, where are you? Well, I'm in the now. Yes. The future and the past are merely mental projections from the now. And we construct these sequences which we call time. It's not time, it's the perception of time. It's like a movie on a DVD. You put the DVD in the movie in the DVD rather, well, DVD movie in the DVD player, or what the bloody one it is. Anyway, you put it in there, and you play it. Now, after you've watched, say, 2 or 3 scenes, those scenes you've watched are now your past. The scene you're watching is your present, and the scenes you've yet to watch is your future. But the whole story is already on the disc, and your perception of past and future is dictated only by that part of the disc that the laser is reading at that moment, i.e. you are observing. William Blake, great English poet, writer, artist, said, "Hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour." There is no time. There is only the perception of time, and it's one of the greatest constructs of the illusion. And it's interesting because, again, talking about this for years, and very recently, the University College London did a study, and they came up with this concept of fluid time. And what they found was, when top sports people, like tennis players, are waiting for a serve, or someone in baseball is waiting for a pitch, or a footballer's waiting to react to something, they start decoding time in a different way. They decode it in a way that makes time to them pass slower. Because it's illusion, it's just the way we decode it. Therefore, I went to Wimbledon once, the tennis, years ago when I was at the BBC. And I only watched one game, but I'm standing there and I'm watching this ball come across the net and I can't see it. It's like a blur at best. And there's this person going, boom, boom. I'm thinking, I can't see it, and he's hitting it down the line. Because this is where great sports people come from. They decode time in a different way. Therefore, we say of great footballers, they seem to have more time than anyone else because they're decoding it differently. Time is an illusion.